Alex lived alone in a small old house at the edge of the city. It was a quiet night and he was ready to sleep. The clock ticked slowly, and the street outside was empty. He liked silence. He liked being unseen, but that night, everything changed. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. It was not a normal knock, it was weak, shaky, almost desperate. Alex froze. Nobody ever visited him this late. His first thought was simple fear. Who could it be at midnight? He stood still for a moment, listening. The knock came again, louder this time. "Please." A soft voice whispered from the other side. "Please open the door." Alex felt his heart beat faster. It sounded like a woman's voice, tired and broken against his better judgment. He stepped forward and pulled the door open. There she was. A woman stood in the doorway. Covered in dirt and dust, her clothes were torn, her hair tangled, her face pale. She looked like she had walked miles through darkness in her shaking hand. She held 3 crumpled dollars. Her eyes were wide, filled with pain and something strange, something not human. "Please," she whispered. "I only have $3. Please let me shower in your home, human." Alex blinked. His brain caught the last word. Human, why would she call him that? Everyone was human here unless... He looked closer. The woman's skin was strange, covered in thin lines that glowed faintly under the moonlight. He thought it was dirt at first, but when her sleeve slipped, he saw it clearly, patterns, almost like stars across her arm, moving slowly like they were alive. Alex felt cold. This was no ordinary woman. Are you sick?" Alex asked carefully. She shook her head quickly, fear in her eyes. "No, I am not sick. I am not like you. But please, I need water. I need to hide." Her voice broke at the last word. "Hide? From who?" Alex looked at the empty street. Shadows stretched across the pavement. No one else was there, but he felt eyes watching. He could almost hear footsteps far away. Every thought told him to close the door, to stay safe, to forget he saw her. But something in her eyes stopped him. There was pain, but also hope. Like she had searched the whole world and finally found a door that might open. Reluctantly, Alex moved aside. "Come in," he said. The woman stumbled forward, clutching her $3 as if it was her last lifeline. She stepped into the hallway, looking around nervously. Her skin shimmered again as the light hit it. Alex shut the door quickly, his hands shaking. For a long moment, there was silence. The woman stood still, breathing heavily. Then she whispered, "Thank you." "Thank you, human." Alex asked, "Who are you? What are you?" The woman looked down, ashamed. "My name is Lyra," she said softly. "I am not from here. My people will kill me if they find me. I escaped, but I cannot survive without help." Her words hit Alex like thunder. Not from here? Did she mean another country? Another world? He wanted to laugh, but her glowing skin told the truth. This was real. An alien standing in his small hallway, begging for a shower, holding only $3. Alex rubbed his face. This was insane. He should call someone, anyone. But something inside told him not to. If she was running from someone dangerous, calling out might bring them closer. He pointed toward the bathroom. "Go. It's there," he muttered. Lyra gave a small smile, weak but genuine. She walked slowly, as if every step hurt. Alex watched her. Half scared, half curious, she turned on the water, and soon the sound of running water filled the house. Alex sat on the couch, holding his head. What had he done? Why did he let her in? He could still feel the weight of her words. "I only have $3. Please let me shower at your home, human." Minutes passed. Then he heard a sound. A soft gasp from the bathroom. He rushed to the door, knocking. "Are you okay?" he asked, no answer. Then slowly the door opened a crack. Through the steam he saw Lyra's hand, wet from the shower. The glowing patterns on her skin were brighter now, shining like stars in the night. She looked at him with wide eyes, fear mixed with sorrow. "They will find me now," she whispered. "The water woke my marks. They can see me. They are coming." Alex felt the air grow heavy somewhere outside. He thought he heard movement. The street was no longer quiet. Something was out there, searching, and it was coming closer. The night had only just begun. The bathroom door stayed half open. Steam drifted into the hallway. Mixing with fear, Lyra stood there, her skin glowing brighter now. The strange star-like marks moving slowly. Her eyes were wide and her voice trembled. "They will find me. They can see my trail now," she whispered. Alex felt his throat dry. He wanted to ask questions, 100 questions, but only one came out. Who are they? Lyra looked at him, and for a moment, her face carried both shame and desperation. My people, she said softly. The ones who call me traitor. She closed the door again, but her words stayed heavy in the room. Alex sat on the couch shaking his head. This made no sense. He was just an ordinary man with no family, no fortune. Nothing special. Why would an alien, hunted and terrified, end up at his door? Why him? Minutes later, Lyra came out, her skin damp, her hair clinging to her face. She wore the same broken clothes, but somehow the water made her look different. Less broken, more alive, her glowing marks had dimmed again, though faint light still pulsed beneath her skin like fire hidden under glass. You should not have opened the door, she told him. You should have let me die outside. It would have been safer for you. Alex frowned. That's not how humans work, he said quietly, surprising even himself. She tilted her head at the word, studying him like he was the alien. Humans, she repeated, as if the word itself carried mystery. My people. They laugh at you. They say humans are weak, blind, simple, but they do not know what I know. Alex leaned forward, curiosity now burning through fear. What do you know? Lyra hesitated, then moved closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. My people. They rule many worlds, she said. They conquer, they take, they erase. Her eyes filled with sorrow. They erase kindness, they erase mercy. They erase everything human. Alex felt a chill. She wasn't talking about humans as a species. She was talking about something deeper. She continued. I was part of them once. I worked for the enforcers, until I saw what they did to a planet very much like this one. Her voice cracked. They burned villages, they made children slaves. They turned love into fear, and when I tried to stop them, they marked me as a traitor. Alex looked at her glowing skin, at the patterns that moved like they were alive. Those marks, he said. They can track you with them, can't they? She nodded slowly. When water touches me, the bond wakes up. The hunters know where I am, even across cities, even across oceans. Alex stood quickly and pulled the curtain shut. His heart pounded. If she was telling the truth, then danger was already close, very close. Why come here? Why me? Alex asked. Lyra lowered her eyes, her voice trembling. Because humans are invisible to them. Alex frowned. Invisible? She nodded again. My people see your kind as nothing, not worth notice, not worth fear. That is your power. Alex laughed bitterly. Great, so we're just too pathetic to be seen? But Lyra shook her head firmly. No. They ignore you, but I know the truth. I have seen it. I have felt it. Humans carry something that no other race carries. She touched her chest softly, over her heart, a resonance, a fire, something that even their greatest machines cannot break. Alex stared at her, confused and unsettled. She spoke like he was supposed to be important, but he had always been ordinary. Still, there was something in her voice that made his skin prickle. Suddenly, a noise outside broke the moment. A low hum, mechanical, almost like wings cutting through the night air. Lyra's head snapped toward the window, her eyes wide with terror. They're here, she whispered. They sent hunters. Alex grabbed her arm without thinking, pulling her into the kitchen. What do we do? He asked, his voice shaking. Lyra's eyes darted around, searching for answers. We hide. We survive, she said quickly. But if they find us, you must not speak. You must not let them see your fire. Alex didn't understand, but he didn't have time to ask. Outside, shadows moved past the glass, slow and deliberate. A sharp metallic knock hit the front door. The sound echoed through the house. Human, a cold voice called, open this door and hand over what does not belong to you. Alex froze. His blood turning cold, he looked at Lyra, her face pale, her body trembling. She whispered, if you open, I die. If you refuse, they will destroy you too. The knock came again. Harder, Alex could feel the walls vibrate. The voice outside grew harsher. We know she is inside, human. You cannot hide her from us. His heart pounded like a drum. He had never been a fighter, never been a hero. But now he stood between something hunted and something deadly. Every part of him wanted to run, to give up, to survive. But then he remembered her words. Humans were invisible to them, weak in their eyes, yet carrying something powerful, something hidden. Alex clenched his fists. His breath sharp, he turned to Lyra, who was shaking with fear. I won't hand you over, he said, his voice firm. Her eyes widened, shining with shock and something else. Hope. You don't understand, she whispered. They will kill you. The door rattled, the walls shook. The voice outside roared, "Last chance, human!" Alex stood tall, his fear still there but buried under a strange fire. For the first time in his life, he felt something more than ordinary. He looked at Lyra and whispered, "Then let them try." The night grew darker and the hunters prepared to break in. But Alex was no longer just an ordinary man waiting for fear. He was making a choice, and that choice would change everything. The front door shook under the hunter's strike. Wood cracked, dust fell. The sound of power behind the knock was not human. Alex stood frozen, his fists tight, his heart racing faster than he had ever felt. Beside him, Lyra pressed her back against the wall, her glowing marks dim but trembling with light. "They will break through," she whispered. They never asked twice. The voice outside came again, sharper, colder. "Human, surrender her, and you will live, resist, and your blood will mark the floor." Alex swallowed hard. Every part of his body screamed to run, to give up, to open the door and throw this strange alien woman outside. But another voice inside him, deeper, stronger, refused. He remembered her words. Humans were invisible to her people, weak in their eyes, but holding something they could never destroy. Maybe she was lying, maybe it was all madness, but her eyes, her fear that they were too real. "Follow me," Alex hissed. Grabbing Lyra's wrist, he pulled her toward the back door. The front door cracked again. One more strike and it would break. Alex flung open the back door and dragged her into the night. The air was cold, the moon high. Shadows stretched long across the empty yard. They ran through tall grass, Lyra stumbling, her breath uneven behind them. The front door finally shattered, the hunters storming inside. The sound of metal feet hit the floor. Heavy and sharp voices echoed, "She is near. She cannot run far." Alex and Lyra pushed through the yard, reaching the alley that cut between old buildings. The smell of oil and rust filled the air. Trash cans tipped as they passed, their noise too loud in the silence of the night. "Faster," Alex urged, though his chest burned with every breath. Lyra stumbled again, but Alex caught her arm, forcing her forward. "We can't stop," he said. "Not now." They reached the subway entrance, broken and abandoned for years. The stairs were cracked, graffiti painted over every wall. Alex pulled her down into the darkness. The hunters' voices grew distant for a moment, but then a low hum filled the air. "They're scanning," Lyra whispered, her voice sharp with terror. "They use sound, light, even the smell of air. They will find us." Alex looked around the empty subway. Rusted rails stretched into black tunnels. The air was damp, the walls dripping with water. He pushed Lyra into a side room, what used to be a ticket booth. It smelled of mold, but it was dark. "Stay quiet," he whispered, pressing his back against the wall for a moment. The only sound was their breathing. Then came the noise. Heavy metallic footsteps entered the subway, echoing against the stone walls. The hunters' voices were sharp, mechanical. "She is here. Her trail is fresh," another voice hissed. "The human hides her. Foolish creature." Alex's heart pounded so loud he feared they would hear it. He could see their shadows move across the tunnel, tall, inhuman shapes with glowing eyes scanning the dark. Lyra closed her eyes, whispering something in her own language. A prayer, maybe. Alex clenched his fists. He had never fought anyone stronger than a drunk in a bar. Now he was hiding from creatures not even from this earth. One of the hunters stopped near the ticket booth. Its glowing eyes scanned the walls. Alex held his breath. The hunter stepped closer, the sound of its feet crushing glass. Then suddenly, a noise rang out above and a car alarm from the street. The hunter froze, turning its head sharply. "Check it," one voice commanded. The shadows moved away, footsteps fading down the tunnel. Alex finally let out a shaky breath. Lyra leaned against the wall, her body trembling. "You saved me again," she whispered. Alex shook his head. "No, just luck," but deep inside he knew it wasn't just luck. Something inside him had grown sharper, faster, more alive since the moment he opened the door to her. Fear was still there, but it didn't control him now. "We can't stay here," Lyra said. "They will search the whole city. They will not rest until I am dead." Her eyes softened. "You should leave me. Save yourself." Alex almost laughed, bitter and tired. "Leave you? After all this?" "No, I'm in this now, whether I want it or not." He looked at her glowing skin, at the strange life in her eyes. "You trusted me when you knocked. Now I'll trust myself." For a moment, silence filled the broken station. Then Alex heard it. The hunter's voices again. Closer this time. They doubled back, he muttered. They're smarter than we thought. Lyra's eyes widened. They will trap us, they always trap their prey. Alex clenched his fists. Then we won't play prey anymore. The hunter's shadows grew longer, their glowing eyes cutting through the dark. The subway air filled with tension. Thick and heavy, Alex and Lyra crouched low, hiding behind the broken glass counter of the booth. His mind screamed at him, run, hide, give up. But another voice inside whispered, fight. The hunters stopped scanning the room. One of them hissed, she is here. Their footsteps grew louder as they stepped toward the booth. Alex's hands trembled, his pulse racing. He had no weapons, no plan, only the fire inside him, but for the first time, that fire felt real. Lyra touched his arm, her voice soft but steady. Humans burn brighter when cornered, she whispered. Alex's eyes locked on the shadow approaching. And he knew, the chase was only the beginning. The hunters stepped closer, their glowing eyes sweeping the subway. Alex pressed his back against the cracked wall of the booth. His chest tight, his breathing shallow beside him. Lyra's skin glimmered faintly, her marks pulsing faster like a heartbeat. She looked at him with fear, but also with something else, trust. Do not move, she whispered. They kill faster than you can see. The first hunter's shadow stretched across the booth. Metal feet clanged against the broken tiles. Each step heavy, merciless, the second voice echoed. Human, give her to us, we will spare your life. Resist and you die with her. Alex's hand shook. The hunters were taller than men, their armor black and sharp, their voices like knives. He was nothing compared to them, just one man with empty hands. He could surrender now, open his mouth, shout, she's here, and it would be over. No one would blame him, no one would know. He could walk away alive, but then he looked at Lyra. Her eyes were wet, shimmering with pain. She had nothing left, no home, no safety, not even freedom. She had trusted him, a stranger, when no one else would. If he gave her up now, what would that make him? The hunter stepped closer, its voice rising. Last warning, human. The glowing eyes pierced through the dark. Searching, waiting for his choice, Alex stood, his legs trembling but firm. He stepped out of the booth, facing the hunters directly. Lyra gasped softly. What are you doing? She whispered. Alex's voice cracked but held steady. I'm making a choice. The hunters tilted their heads, their sharp helmets glinting under faint moonlight from a broken shaft above. You will hand her over, the taller one said. No, Alex replied, his voice louder now, his fear turning into fire. She's under my roof, and I won't let you take her. For a second, silence filled the subway. The hunters froze, as if they could not believe what they heard. Then a harsh metallic laugh echoed. A human defies us? They stepped forward, blades sliding from their arms. Glowing red, you are nothing human. Nothing but dust under our feet. Alex's heart thundered, but he stood tall. I might be nothing to you, he said, but to me, this matters. Lyra's eyes widened, a spark of light dancing in her tears. She whispered softly. You chose me, the hunters roared, charging forward. Alex grabbed a metal pipe from the floor, rusted and weak, but all he had. He swung as one hunter lunged, sparks flying as metal clashed. The pipe snapped, the force throwing Alex back against the wall. Pain shot through his ribs, but he pushed himself up again. Refusing to fall, Lyra screamed, her marks glowing brighter. She stepped forward, holding her hands out, strange energy flickering across her palms. The hunter snarled, You traitor! Even now you protect the vermin? She unleashed a blast of light, slamming one hunter against the tunnel wall. The other turned on her, raising its blade. Alex's body moved before his mind. He grabbed a broken chain from the ground and threw it around the hunter's arm. Pulling with all his strength, the blade missed Lyra by inches, sparks raining down. The hunter yanked back, dragging Alex across the floor like he weighed nothing. But Alex held on, teeth clenched, refusing to let go. The hunter slammed him against the wall, pain exploding through his back, but in that moment Lyra struck again. Her glowing marks flared like fire, energy surging from her body. The blast sent the hunter stumbling, its armor cracked, its glowing eyes flickering, the tunnel filled with smoke and dust. The hunters pulled back, their voices sharp with anger. This is not over, human. This is the beginning. Their shapes vanished into the shadows, retreating but not defeated. Their voices echoed into the night. The Empire will hear of this. The human who defied us will burn. Silence fell again, broken only by Alex's ragged breathing. He collapsed against the wall, blood on his lip, his chest heaving. Lyra knelt beside him, her hands trembling as she touched his shoulder. Why did you do that?" she asked softly, her voice almost breaking. "You could have lived if you gave me away." Alex wiped the blood from his mouth. "Because I'm human," he said, his voice weak but steady. "And maybe that means something after all." Lyra stared at him, her eyes wide. For the first time she smiled, small but real. "You don't understand," she whispered. "What you did." "It changes everything," Alex frowned. "What do you mean?" She leaned closer, her glowing marks fading into soft light. "My people fear only one thing, the fire inside humans. The power to choose even when you should surrender." Her eyes burned with hope now. "You are proof that they cannot erase it." Alex sat back. Exhausted, he didn't understand all of it. But he knew one thing. He had made a choice. A dangerous one, and now nothing would be the same. Outside in the city above, strange lights flickered in the sky. The hunters were gone, but the war had only just noticed his name. Alex looked at Lyra, her glowing skin casting light in the dark. For the first time he felt less ordinary, less invisible. Maybe humans were weak. Maybe they were nothing in the eyes of empires. But tonight one human had stood against them. And the universe would remember it. The subway tunnels were quiet again, but the silence was heavy. Alex sat against the cold wall, his chest aching from the fight, his breath shallow. Every movement hurt, but he forced himself to stay awake. Lyra sat across from him, her glowing marks faint now, her face pale. She was watching him with wide eyes, as if she could not believe he was still alive. "You should not have survived," she whispered almost to herself. Alex gave a weak laugh. "Thanks for the vote of confidence," but she shook her head. "Serious. I mean it. No human should stand against a hunter and live. They are designed to kill without mercy, yet you fought. And you are still breathing." Alex leaned his head back, closing his eyes. "Guess I'm too stubborn to die," he muttered. For a long moment there was only the sound of dripping water in the tunnel. Then Lyra's voice came again, softer, uncertain. "You risked everything for me. Why?" Alex opened his eyes, meeting her gaze. He didn't have a perfect answer. He thought of the knock on his door, the 3 crumpled dollars in her hand, the fear in her voice. And then he thought of the hunters' cruel laughter, the way they saw him as nothing, invisible, worthless. "I couldn't let them win," he said simply. "They think we're nothing. But maybe we're not." Lyra's lips trembled, her eyes shining with something Alex couldn't name. She leaned closer, whispering, "Do you know what trust means to my people?" Alex frowned. "No." Her voice cracked. "It means weakness. It means chains. We are taught never to trust, never to rely, only to obey." She touched her glowing skin lightly as if ashamed of it. "I trusted once before, and I lost everything." Alex studied her carefully. "You trusted me," he said. Her eyes flickered, uncertain. "Yes. And now you will pay the price of that trust." Before Alex could answer, the sound of distant footsteps echoed again. Not hunters this time, something else, heavier, slower. Like machines crawling through the dark. Lyra's head snapped up, fear flashing across her face. "They sent more. Enforcers," she whispered. "They won't make the same mistake as before. They'll bring machines, they'll bring fire." Alex groaned, trying to stand, his ribs burned, but he clenched his teeth and pushed himself up. Lyra reached to steady him, but he waved her off. "I'm fine," he lied. He wasn't fine, not even close. But if he showed weakness now, she would lose hope, and that could kill them both. They moved deeper into the tunnels, the air growing colder, the light dimmer. Rusty tracks stretched into blackness, and broken wires hung from the ceiling like dead vines. The sound of machines followed, closer every minute. Alex's body ached, but he forced his legs to keep moving. Lyra stumbled beside him, her marks glowing brighter with fear. Finally, they reached an old service chamber, a wide space with cracked walls and a pool of still water at the center. The smell of damp earth filled the air. "This place," Lyra whispered. "It will hide us for a while." But her voice carried no certainty. Alex dropped against the wall, panting. "We can't keep running forever," he said. "They'll chase you to the ends of the earth, won't they?" Lyra lowered her head. "Yes, until I am dead or erased." She looked at him with sorrow. "And now you are part of it." "They will erase you too." Alex laughed bitterly. "Lucky me." Then his voice softened. Tell me the truth, Lyra. Why are they hunting you? What did you do that was so unforgivable? Lyra's hands shook as she touched the water. Her reflection wavered, the glowing marks on her skin shimmering in the ripples. I saw something I should not have seen, she whispered, my people's secret. Their greatest fear. Her eyes lifted to his, full of fire now. They fear humans, Alex. They fear what you are, what you carry, because deep inside, you are stronger than them all. Alex stared at her, confused. Stronger? Me? I can barely swing a pipe without breaking it. But Lyra shook her head. Not strength of body, strength of will. Her voice grew urgent. They enslave worlds, they crush armies, but they cannot crush choice. They cannot crush human defiance, and that is why they must destroy you before others see it. Alex's mind spun. He was just one man, nothing special. But what if she was right? What if every choice, every act of resistance could burn brighter than their machines? Before he could answer, the ground trembled. The walls shook. Dust falling from the ceiling. The machines were closer now, their heavy steps echoing like thunder. Lyra grabbed his arm, her face pale. They've found us. Alex pulled free, standing tall despite the pain. No, he said, his voice firm. They've found me. The machine's lights broke through the tunnel. Red and sharp metal bodies crawled forward. Armed with blades and guns, their voices echoed in unison. Humans, surrender the traitor, or be erased. Alex clenched his fists, his fire burning stronger. Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. You can't fight them, Alex. Not alone. He looked at her, his eyes hard. Then don't let me be alone. She stared at him. Torn between fear and hope, her marks glowed brighter, filling the chamber with strange light. Together they stood as the machines closed in. Two figures against an empire, one human and one alien, bound not by fear but by trust. And trust was the one thing the empire had never learned how to kill. The chamber shook as the machines marched in. Their red eyes glowed in the dark, cutting through the dust and shadows. Each step was heavy, echoing like a drum of war. Their metal bodies gleamed. Armed with blades that pulsed with energy, their voices rang together. Cold and merciless. Human, surrender the traitor, or you will be erased. Alex's heart pounded. His body weak and bruised. He had nothing, no weapon, no armor, no plan. Yet as he looked at Lyra, standing close with her glowing marks brightening, he felt something rise inside him. Something more than fear. More than pain, a fire raw and fierce, Lyra whispered urgently. You must run, Alex. They came for me, not for you. If you stay, you will die. But Alex shook his head, his jaw set. No, I made my choice already. His voice was steady, though his legs trembled. I won't hand you over, not now. Not ever. The machines advanced, their steps quickening. Lyra raised her hands, energy sparking in her palms, her body glowed brighter, the marks across her skin burning like stars. She unleashed a blast of light, the shockwave slamming into the first machine. It staggered back, armor cracked but not broken. The others pushed forward, their blades raised high. Alex grabbed a broken steel bar from the ground. He swung at the nearest machine, the strike ringing like a bell against its armor. The force threw him back, his arms numb with pain. The machine turned to him, its eyes burning red. You are weak, human. You cannot stand against us. But Alex stood again, blood on his lip, fire in his eyes. Maybe I am weak, he spat, but I'm still here. The machine lunged, blade slicing down. Alex rolled aside, the blade smashing sparks into the stone floor. He grabbed a loose chain and wrapped it around the machine's arm, pulling with all his weight. The machine jerked, dragging him like nothing. But Alex refused to let go. His teeth clenched, his muscles screaming. The machine raised its other arm to strike, but Lyra's light hit it again. Knocking it sideways, Alex fell hard. But he pushed himself back to his feet. Pain roared through his body, but the fire inside him burned stronger. He looked at the machines and shouted, You don't decide when I stop. I do. For the first time, the machines hesitated. Their red eyes flickered. Lyra gasped softly. They feel it, she whispered. Your will. They can sense it. The machines roared together. Impossible. A human has no power. But Alex could feel it now, a strange strength spreading through him. Not in his arms, not in his legs, but in his chest, deep in his heart. The fire burned brighter, filling him with defiance. It felt like his very soul was standing tall. The nearest machine swung its blade, but Alex met it head on. He grabbed the blade with his bare hands, pain slicing into his skin, blood dripping, yet he held it. Stopping the strike, the machine shuddered, its voice breaking. This cannot be. Humans are weak, Alex pushed back, his roar echoing in the chamber. I'm human, and that's my strength. With a final surge, he twisted the blade aside. Smashing the machine into the wall, sparks burst, its red eyes dimmed. Its body collapsed in a shower of metal. Lyra's eyes widened, her voice shaking. You did it. You stopped it without a weapon. Alex looked at his bleeding hands, trembling but alive. I don't understand, he muttered. But she did. You are the proof. The Empire fears you for this. They knew it was possible. They tried to erase it, but you just showed me. Humans are weapons no machine can control. The other machines roared, furious now. They charged together, blades raised high. Alex stood tall, his body broken but his fire unbroken. He shouted, his voice filled with defiance. Come then, try to break me. The machines struck, their blades crashing down. But Lyra moved beside him, her glowing marks shining like a storm. Her energy joined his fire, light mixing with will, alien power mixing with human defiance. The clash lit the chamber with blinding brightness. The machines stumbled, their systems failing, their voices glitching. Error, human resonance. Cannot calculate. One by one the machines fell, their red eyes fading into black. The chamber grew silent again, filled only with the sound of Alex's heavy breathing. He collapsed to his knees, his hands raw with blood. His chest heaving, Lyra knelt beside him, her voice trembling with awe. You are not ordinary, Alex. You are the human weapon my people fear. Alex shook his head weakly. I'm not a weapon, he said, his voice cracked but firm. I'm just a man who refuses to give up. Lyra touched his shoulder, her eyes shining with hope. And that is what makes you unstoppable. Above them, deep in the city sky, a signal pulsed into the stars. The machines had fallen, but their message had already been sent. The Empire now knew. The human weapon was real, and his name was Alex. The war had just begun. The chamber was silent, filled with smoke and the broken bodies of machines. Alex knelt on the ground, his hands bleeding, his chest heaving. Lyra stayed close, her glowing marks fading slowly, her face pale but alive. For a moment it felt like they had won, but deep inside, both of them knew the truth. The Empire would not stop. The hunters had failed, the machines had fallen, but the message had already been sent. They now knew that one human had stood against them, and they would come with fire, with armies, with everything they had. Alex leaned against the cracked wall, his voice weak but steady. So what now? Lyra looked at him, her eyes shining with sorrow and hope together. Now we prepare, because the storm will fall on this world and they will not forgive what you have done. Alex gave a bitter laugh. I never asked for this. I just opened my door. But Lyra shook her head softly. No, Alex. You did more than that. You opened your soul. You chose to fight when you should have surrendered. And that is what they fear most. They left the chamber, climbing through the tunnels until they reached the surface. The city above was quiet, the streets empty. But the sky told another story. Strange lights shimmered far above like cracks in the night. Ships vast and hidden waiting in the black. Lyra pointed at the sky, her voice trembling. They are watching now, measuring Earth, deciding how to burn it. Alex stared upward, his fists clenched. Then we make sure Earth doesn't burn. They walked through the empty streets, shadows following them like ghosts. Every sound made Alex tense. Every flicker of light made Lyra's marks glow faintly. It felt like the whole city was holding its breath. Finally, they reached Alex's house again, broken from the hunter's strike. The door shattered, the walls cracked. It was no longer a safe home, but it was still the place where everything began. Inside, Lyra sat down slowly, her body weak. She looked at Alex with a heavy gaze. My people will send more. Not hunters, not machines, but armies. They will bring war to this planet. Alex sat across from her, his face hard. Then we fight. Lyra's voice shook. You don't understand. Humans cannot stand against them alone. They will crush you like insects. Alex leaned forward, his voice low. Maybe we can't fight them with weapons, but we can fight them with will, with unity, with the fire they can't kill. For the first time, Lyra smiled, tired but real. That fire. It saved me, it saved us, maybe it can save your whole world. Suddenly, the air outside rumbled, the ground trembled, windows shook. Alex ran to the broken doorway and froze. In the sky, a massive ship was descending. Blocking out the stars, its shadow swallowed the city. Its engines roared like thunder. The Empire had arrived. Lyra rushed to his side, her face pale. "They came faster than I feared." The ship's voice boomed across the city, mechanical and cruel. "Humans, surrender the traitor and the one called Alex. Do so, and we may spare your world." Alex's chest burned with fear. But his fire did not break. He stepped outside. Standing tall in the shadow of the ship, his voice rang out. "You think we're weak? You think we're nothing, but we are more than you ever understood." His words echoed through the empty streets, carried by something greater than sound. For the first time, the ship hesitated. Lyra whispered behind him, her voice trembling. "They can feel it, Alex, your defiance, your human resonance. They cannot silence it." The ship roared again, louder, furious. "Then you will all burn." Beams of light shot down. Fire blazing across the streets, the ground shook. Buildings crumbled. Alex grabbed Lyra and pulled her into cover. Debris raining down. The world seemed to end around them. Yet even as fire fell, Alex's will grew stronger. He stood again, raising his bloody hands toward the sky. "I am human," he shouted, "and you will never break us." The light around him flared. Invisible yet powerful, Lyra gasped, her eyes wide. His defiance had become more than words, and it was force. It was shield. The beams of fire bent around him, scattering harmlessly into the ruins. The ship's voice broke with static. "Impossible! Human cannot resist," but Alex resisted. Not with strength, not with machines, but with the fire inside him. Lyra joined him, her glowing marks flaring bright. Together, human will and alien light rose as one. The storm of fire broke against them, failing, fading, and for the first time, the Empire pulled back. The ship rose higher, its engines howling. Its final words shook the air. "This is not the end, human. This is the beginning of war." The ship vanished into the stars. Leaving silence behind, Alex collapsed to his knees. Trembling, exhausted but alive, Lyra knelt beside him, tears streaming down her face. "You saved them," she whispered. "You saved your world." Alex shook his head weakly. "No, not yet. This was only the first battle." He looked up at the night sky, the stars burning bright. "They'll come back stronger than before, but when they do, we'll be ready." Lyra touched his shoulder, her eyes shining with hope. "Not just ready, united." Alex gave a faint smile. Tired but unbroken, for the first time. "I believe it." The night was quiet again. But the silence was different now. It was not fear, not despair. It was the silence before a new beginning. The war for Earth had started with one knock on a door, one human choice, and from that choice, a fire had been lit, a fire the Empire could never erase. The human story had just begun,